Let's go! Mixmash 20-year anniversary here with Good Times Ahead, Matt and Julio. Welcome! We have a bunch of memories. We've known each other since way back, right?
Yeah.
Way back, yeah. Pretty much since the start of GTA.
Yeah.
Like 2011, 2010.
I remember when you guys formed GTA because Julio, what was your name on my forum again?
I forget what the name was. It was probably my email, like yummycorn463 or
Yes!
something.
What about you, Matt? Did you have a nickname?
I think it was my solo artist name at the time. It was just Van Toth, which is just my middle and last name.
Yeah, I remember that. And I remember that GTA stood for Grand Theft Audio, right?
Audio. Yeah.
Audio, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very true fun fact. We met in Miami through a mutual friend. One of the things that we kind of shared in common was that we were both on your forum. A lot of like the examples you used to put up, like just, Avicii and Afrojack and like a bunch of these guys were on here.
Yeah,
Wow.
and all the feedback that you would give on all the songs would be so helpful for us. And then we just met up one day and started making music.
Oh, incredible. Do you guys remember the first time where we met in person? It must have been in Miami as well, right?
It was either at Live or maybe it was in like a venue in like Fort Lauderdale or something. We were in contact, I'm pretty sure through Twitter. We ended up being able to just meet your tour manager at the time, which was Tony. Shout out Tony. And yeah, through that, I mean, we were just were able to meet you and just kind of talk about like the forum and yeah, like, we want to send you music. And dude, I mean, since the beginning, you've always helped us. So you always kind of just gave us like this access and we would come see you anytime you were playing in Miami. The Mixmash parties or WMC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those days. Those were the beginnings of Live, actually, where they started programming. And Dave Grutman, shout out Dave Grutman, started programming dance music DJs. And I remember being booked there for the very first time. And he told me that at least half of my set would need to be hip-hop and that the other half I could play dance music. And I was like, oh, okay, I can play some hip-hop as well.
You were playing a lot of cool edits. I remember you were playing like Swiss Beats and Nas and these kind of things, but just edits of them. I used to love going to those sets and the parties were so much fun too.
I mean, that's always what's so great about Luke's sets. You always just play so much different stuff and that would always speak too much to us. And you're just like such a great DJ, like super inspiring, still is.
Let me tap us on the back momentarily because actually all of us laid the foundations of what now has become like the whole mashup DJ kind of movement where almost every track that's been played out is like a mashup of something and everyone needs to have their edits, and you guys are still on fire with all of your edits. Before that time, you didn't really see that.
Probably be like people doing live stuff, especially like making kind of premeditated edits of like 3 different songs on top of each other and then like they'll drop into something else. That's definitely something we learned from you too, is like switch out the drop like right with the hot cue right as it goes and everything. Like it's pretty much how everyone plays now.
Yeah, it was an old favorite of mine, that trick for sure. I do want to touch base on and give a shout out to Jared, Digital Lab, because he was a friend of yours as well. And actually, he's pivotal, and so don't go anywhere. I'll tell you why. But I remember meeting up with him whenever I would come in Miami. And I remember meeting up with Anthony. For some reason, I remember him being there with Digital Lab, Jared as well. And so Anthony is a Sonic C. May he rest in peace. One of the ultimate classics on my Mixmash label, which Stickin' I still play.
Yeah,
still slams, and look at the guys nodding. They know this.
So good.
Yep.
But talking about Digital Lab, Jared, you guys were slowly growing. You guys were slowly doing your thing. At a certain point, there was Hit It. And this was with Digital Lab, right? Your first breakthrough hit.
It's Digital Lab and Pedro Henriquez came out on...
shout out Hendrix.
Yeah. And it came out on Size, and that was really one of our first really big tracks that blew up. A lot of people were playing. Also at the time too, Size Records was just so huge and really getting to be so big, especially with the Swedish house guys getting so big. Man, so many good memories with that song.
Shout out to Size Records, who are 20 years this year as well. And like I said, I saw you guys working hard, struggling, and all of a sudden there's Hit It. And tell me how that switched the whole thing for you guys.
I think it kind of got a lot of people just looking at us and seeing what we were going to do next. Soon after that, like Dimitri Vegas and like Mike hit us up for Turn It Up, which was another pretty big record for us. Being able to work with guys guys that we were a fan of, we were just so excited to try anything. You know, guys like Diplo, A-Track, all these guys, we were getting shows, we were getting booked, and yeah, we're just like super excited, especially during like WMC in Miami and stuff like that. We were just like meet all these people face to face and just establish these relationships, which, you know, we've kept over the years.
Yeah.
Super grateful for those guys, super grateful for everybody who supported us, and like those songs like really put us on the map.
I love a good success story, and we've seen many of those over these 20 years of Mixmash. Then I want to talk to you guys, because you are indeed at a certain point, and we'll come back to your hits in a little bit. At a certain point, I was ready to do my first bus tour, and I believe it was you guys that joined me for the first run ever.
Yep.
Yes.
And so tell me how that was for you guys.
That was just incredible. That was our first tour ever. Before that, we'd played like some local gigs here and there in Miami. I used to live in Miami Springs, and you brought the tour bus parked right in front of my house, and we just got right on there and left from there. And it was just such an incredible experience, just playing the shows every night, seeing you play every night, and like how the crowds reacted to everything every single night. It's really inspired us so much, especially with our production, because I would say, you know, going from making something at home for what you think would work in a crowd to working a crowd every night and having that feedback like immediately. I mean, that's pretty much on that bus. I remember that's where we started making like Booty Bounce, some of those kind of tracks, which were really, really big for us.
I didn't realize Booty Bounce was made on that bus. That's insane.
Yeah, on the bus.
Whoa, that's a huge track. See, the thing is, how I remember you two is you were very green to all of this, and like kids in a toy store, we would say in Dutch, you guys were feeling everything out. And it's so beautiful just to realize where you guys are now, like well established, and you know, you've had your big hits and whatnot. But to then rewind back, and Matt, I just remember this conversation, a very serious conversation I had with you on the bus, where you were actually on a fork in the road. In terms of your career, you were asking me like, oh, should you choose this DJ life or should you choose the family life and that sort of thing? And obviously the choice was made. But after the bus tour, what made you pursue this DJ career?
I'm sure Julio have a similar answer. It's just the love for music and producing, the DJing, playing live, all of that. There's just nothing like it. You know, I was working a retail job in a mall, going to university, and wasn't really doing anything for me. I loved producing music and still do. And there's any way that I could just continue doing that, I will always try to do that.
Just being able to be supported by the people we were fans of and just chasing that dream and being like, damn, like I can't believe we're about to be in the studio with Diplo and Laidback Limiter. I can't believe we're going to be in the studio with like with Skrillex, you know, like all these people were just like one by one. It was like these goals were getting achieved, surpassed even, and we're just, you know, like still fans at the end of it all. And I feel like that was the best part about it. It was literally just a dream for us, and we're like grateful for any of the opportunities. But once it was like we're getting presented with, you know, you get to make music with these people now, you get to actually have real conversations with these people now, and it was an amazing thing we'll never take for granted.
Hey, tell me about working with Skrillex. I'm blown away. Like I didn't even know this.
Similarly, we did a bus tour with him 2014,
15 maybe.
We were also on there with Valentino Khan. We were really big fans of his work, especially his early work and stuff at the time. And we're just like, man, like what is this crazy sound? Actually, I'll never forget hearing one of his tracks that you played at Super You and Me at Live at one of the WMCs, and it was like some new song he hadn't put out yet. I guess you were talking to him. I was like, whoa, what is this? This is like the craziest song I've ever heard. A halftime drum and bass tempo. Well, I think it's Kyoto now. Yeah, I just was such a huge fan of his and his sound design and everything. And then we got to go on that bus tour, be around him and work with him. We'd work in the studio a bunch. We had our song Red Lips that we had made. One of the times that we met up with him, he's like, man, I need to remix this song. Did like this whole really crazy music video for it. And he's just like such an amazing person and such a good guy to hang around, like so nice. And similarly, he just loves music, working on music, making new and cool stuff. What an awesome experience.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm low-key jealous. No, it's funny because let's get back to Liv and Dave Grutman for a moment. Back in 2010, I was the first one that booked Skrillex out at Liv, or at like a VIP super club.
Yeah,
and I remember Dave Grutman yelling at us saying like, why are we booking a dubstep DJ for VIP people and whatnot? And he really didn't get it. And a year later, he won all of these Grammys and solidified his name, right, Skrillex? So Incredible. And when I think back of your discography, there's just so much there. So for instance, what was the track called with Diplo again?
Oh, boy, oh boy.
Boy, oh boy. Oh, I still play it. I think I played it at the Mixmash 20-year anniversary this year at
Oh, yeah.
WMC. Yeah, it's just a staple in the dance music scene. What I also think is incredible for the people watching as well is that these kids, these guys who love making music, they hit big at a certain point, like the one hit, but then they kept on coming and they kept on coming. I have a vivid memory of Chami DJing at Ultra Music Festival. I think he was on before me, and he dropped Intoxicated.
Oh, cool.
And the horns came in. I was like, what is this? This is huge. And then later I found it was you guys with Martin Solveig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very random, but speaks to like what we love to do. We just love making music of all kinds. Martin DM'd us on Twitter and was like, hey guys, like I really love what you guys do. Like, would you guys ever want to link up in the studio and try to do something? He had come out to LA when I was living there at the time. Went to the Henson studios, and just like in the first time that we met up, we pretty much had like the bones of that song and like helped write the lyrics and stuff. And he sang, of course. I mean, that song has been our biggest song ever. It's just so grateful for that.
Let me ask you, those horns, that must have come from you guys, because I remember those horns also being in our collab for my Focus album for The Chase.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the chase.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about our collab a little bit as well. But so I guess you guys had a sample bank somewhere, and there were these horns, and you guys were like
Martin had started the melody with like kind of just a random sample. We finished the melody, and then, you know, at the time everybody was using like OTT on everything. We had put that on the sample, and it was obviously very over the top. And Martin was like, oh no, but I want more of an organic sound with it. So he had a trumpet player, a horn player, play the whole melody again. And then we sampled that, kind of layered it with the original horn that we had, and that sample is just always so good.
That's so cool to hear the backstory to this. Now we land, it might have been 2018 or something, where we were playing at Beyond Wonderland together. I think you were either before or after me, and I remember you guys, and this is without disrespect. I'm saying this with praise. I remember you guys being in the dressing room next to me. You had a big crew. You had your managers. You had the tour managers. And I came knocking on the door saying like, hey, can I talk to Matt and Julio really quick? Walking in there, I was like, man, these kids have made it so far. Look at them. Yeah, just want to express, you know, how beautiful it is to see all of that. Fun fact, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Matt lives in a totally different area than Julio. Where do you currently live, Matt?
I'm in Denver.
I'm in LA.
Wow, LA and Denver, two Miami boys.
Yeah.
You guys still make music together. How does that work?
Well, these days we go to each other's cities. You know, we'll spend a week or two and just kind of just work, you know. Sometimes we'll just do writing camps out here in LA, and just invite a bunch of other producers. Shout out Gesture and, you know, a couple other people that we just keep in touch and just work like that. But other than that, just kind of virtually hit up each other on WhatsApp, send ideas.
Also, since the beginning of GTA, really, we share a Dropbox. All of our projects are on the shared Dropbox. So anytime Julio or I save a project, it's already on each other's files and stuff. So we'll send ideas to each other, and then we'll open up the project, or we'll send stems. But, you know, a lot of times, like he was saying, like I go to LA probably once a month or once every 2 months. Also, aside from when we play shows, we obviously travel together. It's kind of how we've been doing it so far.
I think it's really good to hear for a lot of people that are watching that you could possibly also be a duo if one lives in Tokyo and the other one lives in France. There's no restrictions really, where music can just always be made, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to share all of these memories with you. I'm excited that there's a path that we can look back on, and it's a success story, and may success keep on continuing for you guys. And thank you so much for letting me be a part of your journey as well, as we celebrate the Mixmash 20-year anniversary. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Julio. Awesome to speak to you guys again.
Thank you, Luke. And I mean, just going off of what you're saying, and you know, none of this wouldn't have been possible without your guidance and your help. And like, you literally were there from day one, like gave us all these opportunities, and things went how they went. We're still here able to talk to you. We're so grateful that, you know, this exists. So thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks again for having us. And yeah, anytime, anything you ever want to do with us or whatever, of course.